So if your virtual workspace feels less like a functional cockpit and more like the cockpit of a crashing plane,
Right.
specifically if your browser tabs just look like an endless scroll of overlapping little
Oh,
icons.
the favicon pileup. I know it well.
Exactly. Then you know exactly why we're taking this dive today. We're focusing on one environment that, it really dictates the flow of modern professional life. Google Chrome.
And this is about more than just, keeping tidy. For anyone in high-demand roles or managing projects or leading a team, the state of your browser directly impacts your ability to do deep work.
It really does.
Digital efficiency, it's the prerequisite for productivity. It's not the reward.
Absolutely. And we're pulling some really high leverage insights from exceptional source material today. It's from an ed tech publication called Transformations, specifically issue #44 from October 2025.
And even though the context is education tech, these hacks they're universal.
They are totally universal. Our mission here is to just extract the strategic, actionable knowledge that cuts through digital clutter and, I think most importantly, reduces that cognitive load.
We're looking for the shortcuts, right?
Yeah.
The things that minimize the time you spend managing information so you can maximize the time you spend using it.
I really appreciate how the source material frames this. It grounds it in this simple truth from A.A. Milne, of all people.
Right.
It says, organizing is something you do before you do something so that when you do it, it is not all mixed up.
And that's perfect.
It applies so perfectly to how we start a project or even just a new week.
Well, it connects that virtual organization to really profound, tangible benefits.
Mm.
When your digital space is clean, you're not just saving milliseconds. You're improving focus, you're reducing that low-grade stress, and you're just freeing up mental bandwidth.
For sure.
And for any professional who guides or teaches others, modeling this organized approaches, well, you're modeling durable, high-value skills. Things like planning, structured thinking. It's a foundational investment.
It is the ultimate digital lead by example.
Okay, let's jump straight into the techniques that tackle that chronic condition that afflicts nearly all of us, tab overload.
The dreaded 40 tab pileup,
Yes.
where you realize you've spent 3 minutes just hunting for the one tab you actually need right now.
Exactly. So the source material highlights tab groups as the immediate cure. And the mechanism is, a simple right click, but the outcome is just profound. It is the ultimate tool against mental clutter.
So instead of saying 15 separate tabs for, let's say, Project Alpha, you just see one single labeled group.
Right.
And the strategic value here, it goes way beyond just aesthetics. Tab groups are a powerful tool for drastically reducing context switching costs.
What do you mean by that?
Well, if you can collapse a group named Project Beta Research that you aren't touching today, your brain doesn't waste even a fraction of a second trying to process or prioritize those 10 sites. They just stop existing until you click the label again. That's the golden nugget right there. That immediate cognitive relief you get from collapsing that whole group down to just a little colored label.
It's instantaneous.
It is. Instantaneous real estate and mental clarity. You shift from actively tracking dozens of individual points to just managing, 3 or 4 conceptual buckets?
And the source reminds us that this temporary organization can actually become persistent. So if a project is recurring, you can choose Save Group, which pins it directly to your bookmark bar.
So you can recall that entire work set with a single click later.
A single click.
I love that idea, that concept of a persistent workflow structure. But let me play devil's advocate for a second.
Okay.
We're all trying to reduce clutter, right? So if you start saving 50 different tab groups to your bookmark bar over a year, aren't you just moving the clutter from the tab line to the bookmark bar? What's the cleanup strategy?
That's a crucial question because organization is maintenance. It's not a one-time event.
Right.
The source implicitly reinforces that these groups have to be based on active projects. If a project is shelved or done, you need the discipline to delete that group from the bookmark bar. The system only works if you see the bookmark bar not as a historical archive, but as a quick access dashboard for what you're doing right now.
Discipline is the essential invisible skill. Okay. So moving on to the second high-impact tool they detail, pinning tabs.
Yes.
This is for the digital essentials, right? The sites that just have to stay open 204/7.
This is your digital equivalent of locking down the critical instruments on your dashboard. This is the stuff you access hourly,
Yeah.
your email, your team chat, your calendar.
And the execution is so straightforward. It's just right-click, choose pin, But the result is it's transformational. The tab shrinks to this tiny favicon, it loses its title, and it gets shipped all the way to the far left of the browser window.
They become fixed, always visible.
And they take up the least possible space.
And pinning enforces hierarchy. It sends a clear signal to your own brain. These are primary functions. Everything else is secondary and disposable.
Right?
So if you have to keep tabs open, they might as well take up zero cognitive effort and minimal screen space.
When you look at the cumulative effect of these two things, tab groups for projects and pinning for essentials, you really do move from a state of visual distraction and, frankly, anxiety to a highly controlled professional environment.
Precisely. And in a professional setting, especially if you share your screen a lot or present frequently, showing a clean, focused, organized environment isn't just a personal benefit, it's a mark of preparedness.
It's professionalism.
It is.
That brings us to the next layer of efficiency. So once we've organized the chaos that exists, the source material focuses on proactively embedding utility into the browser itself. So let's talk customization.
Right, so we're moving from passive management to active optimization. This is all about removing those micro-friction points in common repetitive tasks.
And they highlight the incredible time savings you can get from turning on built-in sharing tools, specifically having instant access to copy link and QR code generation. Think about it. Think about the professional tasks you do every single day. Sharing resources in a meeting, sending a URL to a colleague, showing a link on a slide.
All the time.
The old way involves multiple clicks, maybe a third-party website, copy-pasting. That tiny inefficiency is death by 1,000 cuts.
It really is. The source material is fantastic here because it gives you the roadmap. We don't need to walk through every single click, but the key takeaway is knowing these options live under the settings menu.
In the appearance section.
And then you can choose to customize your toolbar.
And the ability to immediately generate a QR code for the page you're on, right from the toolbar, that might be the highest leverage trick here.
It's amazing.
Instead of saying, hold on, let me paste that URL into the chat, you just have a scannable image ready instantly for a physical room or a presentation.
It just streamlines the whole professional workflow. We also see a mention of customizing the on-startup settings, which controls what pages open when you launch Chrome.
Right, and this just reinforces the principle that every friction point is avoidable.
Exactly.
Exactly. If your default startup is open last session, you risk reviving yesterday's chaos. But if you set it to load your 3 core work dashboards, your CRM, your project tracker, your communication hub, you immediately drop into a focused state. It's such an easy win.
And I appreciate the philosophy they include in the publication. They offer that necessary reassurance. Don't be afraid to try on some settings for size. You can always reset to default if needed.
Yes.
It just removes the fear factor around experimenting.
That encouragement is vital.
Yeah.
Workflow is personal, it's unique, and you need to find the configuration that complements your own operating style. If we zoom out, the biggest impact of all these customizations is on promoting a flow state. You spend less time navigating the system and more time doing your task. Shaving seconds off sharing or link generation or startup time, it adds up to massive cumulative savings. It improves not just speed, but also consistency and, mental continuity.
That cumulative effect really is the core insight of these sources. Now, let's pivot just a little bit. The organization that provides these tips, the Jeffco Ed Tech DEPT, they frame this as an ongoing process, not a destination,
Right.
which moves us to the broader context of continuous professional growth.
And it's crucial that they don't just treat these as isolated tricks. They reinforce that technology mastery is dynamic. They mentioned offering a variety of learning opportunities throughout the year, focusing on ongoing PD.
Professional development.
Right. This shows an organizational commitment to continuously building these durable skills for their staff.
And they prioritize making this knowledge accessible. They note all the resources are linked, and they even offered a QR code in the original publication to grab all the links mentioned.
That's a direct commitment to immediate follow-up, to structured learning.
Yeah.
It connects these immediate hacks to a much larger professional ecosystem. And they also reference their annual conference, Get Your Tech On, as an example of this specialized collaborative professional learning. This kind of event, whether it's for educators or, financial analysts, is essential because it acknowledges that the tools change fast, and organizational efficiency requires constant investment.
They really made that event sound attractive, too. detailing highlights like the inspiring keynote speaker Tyler Tarver and noting that breakfast and lunch were included.
Fostering a sense of community.
Exactly, among educators from Jeffco and across Colorado.
And the specific details about the conference, like the date and location, November 8th, 2025, at Arvada West High School, they serve as powerful evidence that practical efficiency tips are just the entry point for much larger strategic professional growth. It's an iterative cycle where small organization leads to bigger, more complex learning.
So we began with the chaos of the endless tab bar, and now we understand that mastering that immediate visual environment is the first necessary step toward a more efficient and honestly less stressful professional life.
It's all about instilling durable structure into your digital day.
So to quickly recap the highest leverage immediate actions for you, the listener. First, master your tabs. Use tab groups to bundle current projects for maximum cognitive relief, and use pinning for your mission-critical, always open sites. Second, customize your toolbar. Go into your settings, proactively add those friction-removing buttons, specifically create QR code and copy link for instant sharing.
Implementing just those handful of actions will yield immediate measurable gains in both efficiency and a tangible reduction in digital anxiety.
Now, for a final provocative thought, let's return to that idea of modeling behavior that the source material touches on. If digital organization reduces stress and increases efficiency skills we know are highly valued, what other invisible, durable skills are you modeling or maybe neglecting in your virtual environment right now?
That's a great question. Because if you've perfectly organized Chrome using these techniques, that's fantastic. But what does the rest of your digital infrastructure look like?
A good point.
Does your desktop look like a war zone? Is your cloud storage file system still a chaotic mess of untitled document 4 and final draft, really final?
I feel seen.
The principle of organizing before you act, it applies to your entire digital desktop, your naming conventions, your whole file structure.
So these principles of efficiency and cognitive reduction should really encourage you to audit your entire digital world. Take these foundational tools and just expand them outward. Apply structure to everything, and you'll find so much more bandwidth for the actual work.
Go forth and build that perfectly structured digital life.
Thank you so much for sharing these sources with us and allowing us to take this deep dive. Apply these insights immediately, and we'll catch you next time.